Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why you care so much about what everyone else thinks? Why you measure your worth through the approval of strangers, colleagues, or even friends? Today, I want to shake you awake because it's time to stop being a sucker. It's time to realize that, in the grand scheme of life, nobody really cares. And that, my friend, is the greatest gift you can ever receive. Because once you embrace this truth, once you truly accept that the world does not owe you validation, you unlock a freedom so profound, it can change the entire trajectory of your life. Think about it. How much of your energy have you spent worrying about opinions that are fleeting, comments that vanish in seconds, and judgments that hold no real weight? Every moment you live tethered to someone else's approval is a moment stolen from your own destiny. Life is not waiting for your permission. Life is moving forward, whether you participate fully or linger in fear and doubt. When you realize this, you understand something profound. The universe respects action, courage, and authenticity far more than it respects popularity or approval. Now, I'm not asking you to be selfish in the ordinary sense. I'm asking you to be fiercely devoted to yourself, to your dreams, to your purpose, to the quiet calling that whispers to you in the stillness of the night. When you prioritize your life over the applause of the crowd, something magical happens. Doors begin to open, opportunities reveal themselves, and you begin to attract the people, circumstances, and energies that align with your true mission. The energy you spend on caring about trivial judgments is redirected into creation, growth, and transformation. Ask yourself this: what would your life look like if you stopped worrying about what everyone thinks? If you stopped chasing likes, approval, and empty praise, and instead poured that energy into building the life you've always dreamed of? The answer lies not in speculation, but in action. Your time is sacred, your talent is precious, your vision is unique, and the world is waiting, not for your validation, but for your contribution. Every great soul, every pioneer, every leader who changed history understood this secret. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't seek universal approval. They faced ridicule, criticism, and doubt, and yet they moved forward with unwavering conviction. And so can you. The difference between those who live fully and those who merely exist is simple courage to prioritize themselves above external noise. Courage to focus on the only thing that truly matters: their own life, their own growth, their own destiny. And here is the ultimate truth. When you stop being a sucker, when you stop letting others dictate your self-worth, the world begins to bend in your favor. You begin to radiate an energy so powerful that resistance itself dissolves. Doors you didn't even know existed swing wide open. People who once drained you are naturally removed. Your purpose becomes clearer. Your calling becomes undeniable. And finally, your life becomes your own. So, let me leave you with this prophetic declaration. From this moment forward, you will no longer be a prisoner of the opinions of others. You will no longer sacrifice your peace for approval, your dreams for acceptance, or your destiny for validation. You will rise, fully awake, fully aware, and fully alive. You will honor your calling, embrace your journey, and focus relentlessly on the life that only you can create. The world may not care, but that is exactly why you must. The world may not wait, but that is exactly why you must act. Your life is sacred, your purpose is unstoppable, and nothing will ever stand in the way of your rise again. Too many people move through life as though their worth is a reflection of the opinions of others. They wake each day and unconsciously ask, do they like me? Am I enough? Did I do well in their eyes? And in that silent questioning, they surrender the most precious thing they possess, their own sense of value. Think for a moment about how often you have measured your happiness against someone else's standards. How often have you muted your dreams because you feared the judgment of friends, colleagues, or even strangers? It is a subtle, almost invisible trap, but it is one of the most dangerous chains anyone can wear. The truth is, the moment you hand over your sense of self-worth to others, you give them power over your life, a power they neither earned nor truly deserve. Imagine living free of that invisible weight, waking each day with a quiet confidence that is immune to external approval. Imagine the liberation of no longer needing someone else's nod to feel legitimate or someone else's praise to feel accomplished. This is not arrogance. This is not selfishness. This is the recognition that your life, your talents, and your journey are inherently meaningful, independent of anyone else's perspective. When you internalize this truth, you awaken to a profound freedom, one that allows you to move through the world with grace, purpose, and unwavering clarity. Consider for a moment how much of your energy you spend obsessing over what others might think. Every comment you analyze, every text you reread, every encounter you replay in your mind consumes a fraction of your life that can never be reclaimed. That energy, if redirected, could be building something extraordinary. That time, if reinvested, could be moving you closer to your dreams. And yet, many continue to operate under the illusion that external validation is the key to their happiness. They sacrifice the quiet joy of self-possession for the fleeting satisfaction of someone else's approval. They trade enduring fulfillment for temporary applause. There is a spiritual dimension to this realization that cannot be ignored. When you depend on external validation, you are, in essence, placing your spirit in the hands of others. You are outsourcing your happiness, your confidence, and your sense of purpose. But your soul is sacred. It is a force uniquely yours, crafted with potential and insight that no one else can replicate. To tether your essence to someone else's perception is to diminish the light that was given to you at birth. The universe does not reward people for their ability to conform to external opinions. It rewards those who embrace their authenticity and honor the inner compass that guides them. Ask yourself, how would your life change if you truly believed that your worth does not require anyone else's confirmation? How would your days feel if the approval of others no longer dictated your choices, your actions, or your dreams? This is not a hypothetical exercise. It is a reality waiting for those willing to claim it. Freedom begins with the simple, yet profound, decision to believe in your inherent value. It begins when you stop looking outside yourself for permission to exist fully, to love yourself completely, and to pursue what sets your soul on fire. Notice how often people bend themselves into uncomfortable shapes to fit into molds crafted by others. They smile when they don't feel like smiling. They nod when they want to shake their head. They say yes when they long to say no. And all of this is done in the silent hope that they will be accepted, approved, and admired. But the cost of this constant conformity is immense. It erodes confidence, stifles creativity, and buries potential beneath layers of doubt and fear. Life is too brief, too fleeting, and too miraculous to spend bending yourself to fit the expectations of others. You were designed to stand tall, to radiate your truth, and to act with the quiet assurance that your presence alone carries significance. The world will never fully understand you, and that is perfectly fine. The opinions of others are transient, fleeting, and often irrelevant. People will misinterpret your intentions, underestimate your abilities, and judge your choices through the lens of their own fears and limitations. When you allow their perceptions to define your self-worth, you are living in a shadow, dimming the light of your own potential. But when you reclaim your inherent value, you begin to live in the light. You begin to move with clarity, purpose, and an unwavering focus on what truly matters: your growth, your journey, and the life you are meant to create. Consider this truth deeply: your talents, your passions, your very existence are not conditional on anyone else's approval. Every skill you possess, every insight you gain, every step you take toward your dreams is proof that your worth exists independently of the world's recognition. It is a quiet, steady truth that cannot be shaken by criticism or diminished by doubt. And the moment you fully embrace it, you awaken to a level of confidence and self-respect that transforms the way you navigate life. You begin to take risks, to speak boldly, to pursue ambitions that once seemed impossible. The energy you once spent seeking approval is now channeled into creation, innovation, and personal growth. There is a subtle, almost spiritual power in this realization. When you acknowledge your intrinsic worth, you stop competing for validation and start competing for mastery, growth, and excellence. You stop reacting to judgment and start responding to purpose. You stop fearing rejection and start embracing opportunity. Life opens up in ways that are impossible to imagine until you take this step. People are drawn to those who walk in self-possession, who act from a place of inner certainty, who carry themselves with quiet confidence. That magnetic energy, born from self-respect and authenticity, attracts abundance, connection, and opportunity in ways that external validation never could. So consider the life waiting for you on the other side of this realization. A life where your decisions are guided by your own values, not by the fleeting opinions of others. A life where your dreams are pursued with courage and conviction, not hesitation or doubt. A life where the voice inside you, your intuition, your vision, your purpose, is the loudest voice in the room. The world may still judge, criticize, and misunderstand you. It may still try to pull you into the trap of seeking approval. But now you stand equipped with a truth far more powerful. Your worth is inherent, unshakable, and eternal. Every day that you live in alignment with this truth is a day you reclaim from the opinions of others. Every action you take, unbound by the need for validation, is a step toward the life you were always meant to lead. The moment you accept this, you unlock a freedom that cannot be taken from you. Your confidence no longer wavers, your clarity no longer falters, and your life, once constrained by external judgments, begins to expand into the extraordinary reality you were always destined to experience. Chasing validation is like running on a treadmill that never stops. The moment you pause, the world moves on, indifferent to your efforts. People spend countless hours trying to earn approval, striving to fit into expectations that are constantly shifting. They mold themselves to please colleagues, friends, family, even strangers whose opinions hold no real weight in their lives. Every compliment becomes a fleeting high, every criticism a crushing blow. And in the middle of it all, they lose sight of what truly matters: their own vision, their own growth, their own life. You see, external approval is a trap, a subtle chain that binds your energy, your creativity, and your freedom. The world does not pause to acknowledge your worth. It does not wait for your validation. And the sooner you realize this, the sooner you can reclaim the energy that has been wasted on fleeting recognition. When you stop seeking approval, something profound happens. You redirect your focus inward, toward the only thing that truly deserves your attention, yourself. The fear of judgment no longer dictates your actions, your choices, or your dreams. Instead, you act from a place of clarity, courage, and conviction. Imagine how much more productive, more inspired, and more empowered you could feel if every decision was guided by your purpose, rather than by the opinions of others. The energy once spent chasing validation transforms into fuel for creativity, focus, and relentless action. Your life begins to move in alignment with your deepest aspirations, and the noise of approval or disapproval fades into irrelevance. Consider for a moment how many opportunities are missed simply because people wait for permission they will never receive. They hesitate, they second-guess, they seek reassurance from those who are themselves uncertain. Every second spent seeking validation is a moment stolen from the life they were meant to live. The truth is, the world will never validate your greatness the way you can. Only you can recognize your own potential, commit to your own path, and take the steps required to manifest it. External approval is temporary, unreliable, and often misleading. Real power, real freedom, and true fulfillment come from prioritizing your life above the applause of others. Once you embrace this truth, the shift is undeniable. You begin to act boldly, speak freely, and pursue goals with unwavering focus. The world may still offer praise or criticism, but neither has the power to steer your life off course. Your energy is yours to invest, your dreams yours to pursue, and your life yours to create. Fear of judgment is one of the quietest, yet most powerful forces that holds people back. It seeps into every decision, every thought, every hesitation, often without even being noticed. You may not realize how many of your dreams have been put on pause, how many opportunities have slipped through your fingers simply because the possibility of criticism or ridicule seemed too heavy to bear. The truth is, judgment exists in every direction you look, and yet it holds no real power unless you give it permission to control your life. Every moment you spend imagining what others might think is a moment stolen from creation, from action, and from the pursuit of your true purpose. Consider how many people you know, or perhaps even yourself, who hesitate to speak their truth, to share their ideas, to step into a new role or challenge, because of the imagined scrutiny of others. They weigh every choice against a scale that doesn't even belong to them. They worry about being misunderstood, about being laughed at, about falling short in someone else's eyes. And while they remain frozen in fear, life moves forward without pause. Opportunities appear, doors open, and yet they stand outside, waiting for permission that will never come. Fear of judgment is not merely an obstacle. It is a silent thief, stealing potential confidence and momentum from every moment. The paradox, however, is that judgment itself is meaningless. People will always have opinions, often uninformed, often fleeting, often contradictory. No one can see your journey as you do. No one can understand the depth of your struggles, the intensity of your efforts, or the clarity of your vision. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you can act with courage and decisiveness. True courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in spite of fear. It is moving forward, even when the weight of judgment presses against you. It is recognizing that every step you take in alignment with your purpose diminishes the power of those opinions. When you begin to operate from this understanding, life changes profoundly. You speak with confidence, you act with intention, and you take risks that once seemed impossible. Every decision becomes a statement of your own integrity, your own vision, your own self-worth. The fear of judgment no longer dictates your life. It becomes merely background noise, a sound that fades as you step fully into the life that was always meant to be yours. In that space, you discover an unstoppable force within yourself, fueled not by approval or applause, but by purpose, clarity, and unshakable self-belief. Focus is one of the most undervalued skills in a world overflowing with distractions. Every day, countless people scatter their attention across endless notifications, meaningless debates, and obligations that serve no purpose in their personal growth. They allow their time and energy to be siphoned away by things that will never bring them closer to their dreams. Meanwhile, their true potential sits quietly in the background, waiting to be claimed. The power of focused energy cannot be overstated. When you direct your attention deliberately toward what truly matters, your goals, your growth, your purpose, life begins to align in remarkable ways. You begin to notice opportunities that were invisible before, ideas that were dormant, and strengths within yourself that you may have overlooked. Many people misunderstand focus. They believe it means doing more, working harder, or spreading themselves thin to cover every possible outcome. But focus is not about quantity, it is about quality. It is about choosing what deserves your attention and refusing to allow the trivial and the inconsequential to steal your energy. Every hour spent on things that do not advance your life is an hour that can never be reclaimed. And yet most continue to drift aimlessly, measuring their days by business rather than progress. True focus requires clarity, a deep understanding of what matters most to you, and a fierce commitment to protect that priority above all else. Ask yourself how much you could achieve if every action, every decision, every effort was aligned with your highest purpose. Imagine the momentum that builds when distractions no longer drain you, when fleeting opinions no longer dictate your choices, and when you invest fully in the path you were born to walk. Life responds to attention. The energy you pour into meaningful pursuits multiplies, attracting growth, clarity, and opportunities that reinforce your progress. In contrast, attention scattered across endless trivialities leads only to frustration, confusion, and a persistent sense of stagnation. The spiritual dimension of focus is equally profound. When you commit to directing your energy toward what truly matters, you honor your own potential. You recognize that your time, your talents, and your vision are sacred. You stop giving power to distractions and external noise, and you begin to act from a place of integrity and intentionality. Each decision becomes a declaration of your purpose, each step a movement toward the life you are meant to create. Focus is not just a strategy. It is a form of respect for yourself, your potential, and the extraordinary life waiting for you to claim. Action is the currency of life, yet far too many people undervalue it, waiting instead for conditions to be perfect, for approval to be granted, or for the timing to feel just right. They linger in preparation, overanalyzing each decision, debating every possibility, and listening intently to the voices of others who have no stake in their destiny. Meanwhile, life moves forward relentlessly, indifferent to hesitation, and opportunities slip through fingers that remain still for too long. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who merely dream lies not in knowledge, intelligence, or talent, but in the willingness to act decisively, consistently, and fearlessly. Action carries weight. Opinions, commentary, and judgment are weightless. They consume attention, but produce nothing of lasting value. Consider the countless stories of pioneers, inventors, and leaders who transformed the world. None of them waited for universal approval or perfect conditions. They moved forward in the face of uncertainty, ridicule, and doubt, guided by an inner certainty that their vision mattered more than external validation. They understood a profound truth. Every great achievement begins as a single, often imperfect, step. The act of moving, of committing, of doing, even when fear or criticism is present, is what separates those who leave a mark from those who remain invisible in the crowd. The world is full of people who talk about plans, ideas, and intentions, but the rare few who act with consistent purpose create lives that resonate beyond their own time. Every hesitation fueled by the fear of judgment, the need for approval, or the hope of perfection diminishes the momentum of your life. It is not merely a delay, it is a diversion. Every second spent waiting for validation is energy diverted from creation, growth, and progress. True power emerges when you recognize that the opinions of others are irrelevant to your pursuit. Their judgments do not shape your potential. Their criticism does not define your path. Their approval is optional and cannot substitute for the satisfaction and impact of decisive action. To act without dependence on external affirmation is to step into a space of profound freedom, where your vision alone dictates the direction and intensity of your effort. The act of doing transforms fear into clarity. The moment you take action, even imperfectly, the fog of uncertainty begins to lift. Choices that seemed insurmountable become manageable. Opportunities that felt invisible reveal themselves. The world begins to respond, not because it recognizes your worth, but because action generates energy, momentum, and visibility. Your effort becomes a signal that attracts alignment, resources, and people who resonate with your mission. Each step forward reinforces confidence, and confidence in turn fuels further action. This is the cycle of growth that cannot exist without movement. Waiting for permission or validation breaks the cycle before it even begins. It is also crucial to recognize the spiritual dimension of action. Movement is a form of faith, a declaration to the universe that you believe in your own capacity to create, influence, and grow. When you act, you are speaking a language that transcends fear and doubt. You are asserting that your life is valuable, that your purpose is real, and that your potential deserves to be realized. The universe responds to those who are willing to step forward, to risk, and to engage fully with the opportunities before them. Stagnation, in contrast, signals doubt, indecision, and an unwillingness to claim the life waiting for you. Action transforms possibility into reality, potential into achievement, and dreams into tangible outcomes. Ask yourself, how many ideas have you abandoned because the risk felt too great, the timing imperfect, or the judgment too loud? How many opportunities have passed unnoticed while you lingered in hesitation, hoping for someone to tell you it was okay to proceed? The truth is, no one is coming to grant permission. The world does not pause to validate your dreams. Your life is not on hold for anyone else's recognition. Every great life in history, every person who has made an impact, understood this principle. They acted because their vision demanded it, because their purpose could not wait, and because they recognized that action is the ultimate expression of self-respect and integrity. Taking action also reshapes your perception of failure. When you act, you encounter obstacles, mistakes, and setbacks. But these are not signs of inadequacy. They are markers of engagement, learning, and growth. Those who act without fear of judgment understand that failure is temporary, instructive, and often the precursor to breakthrough. Inaction, conversely, guarantees stagnation and regret. The fear of making the wrong move keeps countless potential achievements forever unrealized. Courageous action, however, transforms every misstep into wisdom, every setback into momentum, and every risk into opportunity. The energy of action is magnetic. People are drawn to those who move with purpose, who act decisively, and who refuse to wait for validation. Opportunities gravitate toward those who engage fully with life, rather than those who linger in observation. Each deliberate step builds confidence, resilience, and clarity, creating a feedback loop that propels you forward at increasing speed. Action does not merely produce results. It transforms character, strengthens resolve, and amplifies vision. When you embrace action as a principle, your life begins to operate on a higher frequency. You are no longer reactive to external opinions, distractions, or temporary setbacks. You are proactive, intentional, and aligned with your purpose. Your energy is concentrated on creation, growth, and contribution, rather than consumed by hesitation, doubt, or fear. The world may still offer praise or criticism, but neither has the power to dictate your path. Action is your declaration of independence, your affirmation of potential, and your commitment to a life of meaning, impact, and fulfillment. Every moment you choose to act is a moment reclaimed from the inertia of fear. Every step you take forward, no matter how small, compounds into progress that propels your life toward fulfillment. Waiting for approval or perfection is a luxury that no visionary can afford. The true measure of greatness is the courage to act consistently, decisively, and with unshakable belief in the value of your efforts. Your life is waiting, your vision is calling, and your potential is insisting that you move. Action is the bridge between dreams and reality, between fear and mastery, between the life you have and the life you were born to create. The ultimate freedom in life is realized when you stop allowing the opinions of others to dictate your choices, your actions, and your sense of self. Too many people live as if the world holds the keys to their happiness, their fulfillment, and their sense of worth. They measure every decision by the anticipated reaction of those around them, calculating the approval they might receive or the judgment they might face. In doing so, they surrender the very essence of their power, placing the steering wheel of their life in hands that were never meant to guide them. True liberation comes when you reclaim that wheel, when you recognize that your life belongs to you alone, and when you begin to act with intention, clarity, and unwavering commitment to your own purpose. Consider the countless hours wasted in pursuit of external validation. Compliments become addictive, criticism becomes paralyzing, and every choice is filtered through the lens of imagined opinions. This invisible cage can be sophisticated, subtle, and nearly imperceptible. Yet it is one of the most dangerous prisons of all. Freedom begins when you acknowledge that nobody is required to care about your dreams the way you do. Nobody owes you understanding, encouragement, or recognition. And the paradox is that once you accept this truth, life begins to align in ways that were previously impossible. When the world does not set the terms of your success, you are free to define it on your own. Focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is essential. It is the act of giving your energy, attention, and creativity to the only person who truly matters in the pursuit of your vision. When you prioritize your growth, your clarity, and your purpose above the applause or disapproval of others, you operate from a place of profound authenticity. Every decision becomes deliberate, every action intentional, and every moment infused with significance. The distractions of social expectation, judgment, and fleeting opinions no longer pull you off course, because your internal compass has become the only guide you follow. Ask yourself, how often have you compromised, hesitated, or abandoned your goals simply to avoid criticism or disapproval? How many opportunities have slipped away because you worried too much about what others might think? Each of those moments represents potential unrealized, energy misdirected, and momentum lost. When you shift the focus inward, you reclaim that lost energy and transform it into power. You begin to move with clarity, decisiveness, and a sense of purpose that is magnetic to others and irresistible to opportunity. The world may not offer its approval, but it cannot stop the force of someone fully committed to their own path. There is a spiritual dimension to this realization that runs deeper than simple self-help advice. When you commit to prioritizing yourself and your life above the opinions of others, you honor the sacredness of your own existence. You recognize that your time, your talents, and your energy are finite and valuable. You begin to act with integrity, to speak with courage, and to pursue a life aligned with your highest vision. Every step you take in this direction becomes an affirmation of your worth, a declaration that you will not surrender your life to the judgment of others, and a commitment to the pursuit of your destiny with relentless focus. The energy of those who operate from self-prioritization is undeniable. They move through life with a confidence that is quiet but unshakable, a presence that commands attention without demand, and an aura of authenticity that attracts the right people, resources, and opportunities. These individuals understand a fundamental principle: when you honor yourself, the universe responds. Doors open that were previously hidden. Guidance appears that was previously unnoticed. People and circumstances align to support the pursuit of your purpose. This is not magic. It is the natural consequence of energy directed with clarity, intention, and uncompromising self-respect. Fear of disapproval is perhaps the single greatest obstacle to achieving freedom. People hesitate to pursue bold dreams, to speak uncomfortable truths, and to act decisively because they worry about judgment, rejection, or misunderstanding. Yet the reality is that fear of disapproval is meaningless when weighed against the cost of a life lived in mediocrity, hesitation, or compromise. Every moment you allow external voices to shape your decisions is a moment you surrender control over the life that is rightfully yours. The courage to prioritize yourself, even when others disapprove, is the first step toward mastery, fulfillment, and unstoppable momentum. When you put yourself first, everything begins to change. Your clarity increases because your focus is no longer fractured by the need for validation. Your productivity accelerates because your energy is invested in endeavors that truly matter. Your resilience strengthens because your self-worth is no longer contingent on fleeting opinions. And your influence expands because the confidence, authenticity, and determination you radiate draw people, opportunities, and resources naturally toward your orbit. Living in alignment with your own purpose becomes an unstoppable force, creating momentum that cannot be derailed by criticism, doubt, or distraction. Every great life, every person who has left a lasting impact, has operated from this principle. They understood that external validation is optional, unreliable, and often irrelevant. What matters is the clarity of vision, the courage to act, and the refusal to surrender the direction of their life to anyone else. By prioritizing yourself, you step into that lineage of individuals who have transformed their dreams into reality, obstacles into opportunities, and potential into lasting achievement. The ultimate truth is that freedom, fulfillment, and extraordinary impact are reserved for those who stop seeking approval and start honoring their own path. When you focus relentlessly on your life, your growth, and your purpose, you become unstoppable. The opinions of others may continue to exist, but they no longer dictate your actions. Your energy is directed with precision, your vision becomes undeniable, and your journey unfolds with a momentum that cannot be resisted. You are no longer living for anyone else. You are living fully, authentically, and powerfully for yourself. And in doing so, you step into the life you were always meant to create.